I'm joined by more fantastic tech leaders, and we're looking at inspiring positive change, how technology is improving society. We're joined by Christina Scott of OVO, Freddie Queck of Times Higher Education, Jared McGovern of the Tony Blair Institute for Change, and Zahir Kajini of Rabobank. So a great distinction and differentiation of different sectors, different geographies and regions too, and hopefully different perspectives. So my first question, perhaps an obvious one, but a good starting point, and Christina, I'll come to you first, given you are to my left. When we think about the potential that tech has at contributing to society, to what extent do you think it is already?
So I think most people in the room are going to think that technology has been positive in society. So you look in all sectors, whether it's education, healthcare, you can see how tech has really pushed forward and helped. So a small example is I went to a Spanish night class about 20 years ago. I used to go do an hour night class and I learned no Spanish. I did it for ages, I learned no Spanish. I've been doing Duolingo for about 2 months and I've learned so much, it's incredible. And so you can really see how technology can be positive, but then the flip side of that is pretty much everywhere you look at the positive, there is a negative. And so whether it's social media and the issues that people have with trolling and young people have with inappropriate content, whether it's in education and the divide between the people who have got and the people who haven't, and the educational divide, you can see that there's a flip side. And so definitely yes, but there is that, sadly, the negative as well.
If you are there for well-being of your customers, right? You need to use the technology in such a way that you understand the situation of your customer. As a bank, we have tremendous data on our customers, but how much of that data you use actually in a responsible manner to serve your customer. And sometimes if you know enough about the financial situation of your customer, and you know for the stability, for the sake of a stability, you shouldn't sell some financial products to that customer, you should be able to say no. Although it's not good for your profitability, but you have the responsibility to say no. And that's being responsible and being a responsible bank.
To that point then on ethics, being an ethical person is core to being a leader. How then is ethics embedded into the tech function and then the wider business at your organization? So when you are doing your initiatives, looking to improve your customers, maybe your clients, wider communities, what does that look like and how do you affect that positive change?
I'm happy to start since I helped to create this question. If you look at the definition of tech ethics, right, one way to look at it as the practical concerns around the use of technology. And I think we don't have to go much further than thinking about one of the very hot topic of today, which is linking it to sustainability. We all hear about the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, right? And you know, climate change is only one thing that we hear about. There's another 16 of them. How many of those do we relate to? How many of those are we doing something about? So it's very hard. So during COVID, we launched a product called SDG Impact Rankings. And that is a way to help organizations, higher education institutions, and now we're beginning to work with governments about how they can measure themselves against not one, not two, but 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So on one hand, we have a problem, but on the other hand, I think we all have a responsibility to help our organizations to think about how we can solve this problem.
Christina, OVO has been one of the central players. We've had an energy crisis, we've got a cost of living crisis, we have numerous other mini crises underplaying all of this just to make it more fun. What has OVO been doing and looking at tech specifically to help your customers?
The immediate crisis that we had to deal with is the cost of living crisis. And so looking at huge swathes of the UK population were just in fuel poverty, and the price was going up and up. And so at OVO, what we did is really focus on that in the first instance, putting aside some of our longer term ambitions, which I'll come on to. And so we looked at our customer base. We looked at the people who are marked vulnerable, and you can be marked vulnerable for a number of reasons. And so as a company, we, to sacrifice some of the revenue and profit during that period, put it towards vulnerable customers, both directly but also in a customer care package that we launched. And then we're a little bit more focused now on our longer term goal, which is to decarbonise UK homes.